Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Vortex Racing Network production of the Bonfire Premier Cup. It's Sunday, and the Bonfire Racing League comes to Legacy Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's season 14 and the second race of our regular season. 3 wide in the booth today. Mean Gene Money here. I've got Smokin' Joe next to me, and Johnny Replay down in the pits going to bring us all the action and replays of these accidents. Boys, can you feel the heat coming off the track? Joe.
What a wild couple of weeks it's been here for this series. We're going to have another great one here, I hope, today at Charlotte after Kentucky last week. Unfortunately ended on time and made it for a chaotic finish. Charlotte, one of those tracks, we just saw it in the MRL Monday Mayhem Cup Series a few weeks ago. Same amount of laps, so I think we're going to see the same amount of action here tonight.
Everybody fast out there in practice here today, expecting a lot of action on the track. 25 drivers going to make the start here today. How are the pits looking down there, Johnny Replay? A lot of action in the pits. Do these drivers talking about taking tires every time, or do you think you're going to see any risk takers?
Well, if it's anything like last weekend's race, hopefully we'll see some risk takers try to shake up the things on the track.
Well, can't wait to see exactly how it's going to go down. Of course, last week was the Puckett 300, the second most prestigious trophy in our league, the championship being the top one. And it was David Medina striking gold on the time-shortened race at Kentucky. Kevin Kyle second, Joe Volpis third last week. But that's not how the points worked out because, of course, of the ever-important stage break. They do give stage points to the top 10 drivers, and they do take a little caution there. And as we look at the points, you can see Joe Volpis, he might have got third on the track, but with stage points finds himself at the top. Season 13 champion David Medina finds himself in second. David Owens third. Jake O'Shea showing great speed. He's a FOCM driver this year. Kevin Kyle in fifth. That's your point standing. This, of course, today is the FOCM 225. The fine boys over there at FOCM generously sponsoring this race. Can't wait to see exactly how it will unfold. There's the Florida man, Jax Duvall. Last year, Duvall running with Pony Up Motorsports. This year, he's running with All By Myself Racing out there on the track right now. He likes to hang out with those Gulf Coast boys, though, doesn't he, Joe?
Yeah, he's been hanging out with them here the first 2 races of the season in the chat with them. You see, the Florida man out there. He's been doing a good job here to start the season in that nice Jacksonville Jaguars paint scheme. We'll see if he's able to keep it going or not here this week with some great finishes, some great runs, and some great speed as well.
Part-time driver last year, though, had great performances, so not a surprise to see him out there putting up fast practice laps. And now here in qualifying, still early in the qualifying here at Charlotte, gonna slowly see what drivers find themselves up at the top of the board. But I'll tell you what, pretty much 28 guys, or 26 guys, all ran under a 32nd in practice. So you have to expect to see some amazing speeds. Here's Ricky Mandela Sr., captain of Animal House Customs and last year's Rookie of the Year, out there putting down a little bit of rubber here on Charlotte Legacy. Not a surprise to see him running fast. And a little bit of a shakeup. We talked about it last week. Animal House Customs keeping their captain, but then bringing on Joe Volpis, David Buell running full-time, and this just in, Stephen Neal signed as the 4th driver. So Animal House Customs, serious upgrades across the board as far as their team goes, especially scoring Joe Volpis. Volpis, of course, one of the foundation members of Gulf Coast Racing, now finds himself in that number 11 FedEx car driving for Animal House Custom. So going to keep an eye on that. Of course, FOCM and Gulf Coast battling for last year's team championship. Gulf Coast with the victory, but now with the defection of Vulpes to Animal House will be something for us to watch as the season progresses. Looks like Jax Duval still staying up on the pole. 29.51. Great lap there by him, but still some heavy names to come. David Medina, of course. Jason Landry missed last week's race, so gonna have him out there. Oh, and there it is. We hype him up, and he delivers. Joe Vulpes gonna take the fastest lap, 29.419. These laps are a lot faster than here on the Legacy than they are on that new Charlotte. That thing not quite as friendly, hey, Smoking Joe?
Yeah, the surface is a little bit more rigid now than it used to be. However, it still drives mostly the same when it comes to this car. You still want to do the same kind of things. Really want to arc the corner, make sure you're not using up the tires too much. And then, of course, later in the run, maybe think about shifting.
So gonna be fun to see, especially when you decide to shift. Right front tire's gonna get destroyed, but when you start shifting, that right rear also gonna take some damage. Well, look at that second-year driver, Pony Up Motorsports captain Gerald Rose with a good time there. Just 1/100th of a second off Joe Vulpes, and right behind the Florida man, David Buell, another of the fellows we talked about earlier, running with Animal House Customs up there as well. And Michael Sarah put his name into the pot for Rookie of the Year last year, missed a few races, and the 27 just came up short because of attendance issue. So qualifying underway, still waiting for some big names to come down the road. You can see going down there, David Brenner, really fast here today, Brandon Shelton, and here we go, the double nickel, Jared Kelly, the ignition point driver. This guy always with a pocket full of speed. The question is, how much is he going to reveal here on this practice run? Hey, Joe, let's go inside with Jared Kelly and just see when he's shifting and what he's doing with that car. What do you think? You've run this course. Take me through this lap with him.
I know personally, I'll stay in fifth gear if I'm going for a hot lap, especially down here in 1 and 2. Some guys will shift down to fourth and 3 and 4. You want to get it right down to the blue line, just like that, get a good run off 2. And then down in the 3, if he's going to shift, he's going to do it nice and early, use a little engine braking here. And it looks like he's not going to shift. He's going to run it in fifth gear, run right on that blue line again. Let's see what kind of a lap time he puts down here.
Ooh, so breaking away from the norm. So many of the drivers, as you said, going into fourth gear in 3 and 4. But hey, I tell you what, it's going to pop him into fifth place here early. Whoop, where did Kelly go? Gets bumped down to 6 because, oh my word, look who's out there, season 13 champion. That's David Medina laying it down in that FOCM number 9.
Yeah, he's putting down some good lap times here once again. It does seem like the first lap, I think, is the one thing that we've learned is the first lap is the money lap with this car right now, with the way the tire model is here on iRacing. So I haven't seen really anybody go faster on their second lap. The first lap has been where the money has been made for these guys to this point.
29.3 by David Medina. He only ran a 29.5 in practice, so he found a little something extra. Speaking of finding something extra, here's Jason Landry, ran a 29.3 in practice. Missed last week's race. He was on a holiday, little European vacation for the Canadian Jason Landry. Now back on the track where he belongs, putting it down. Let's see what kind of lap time he can put up, and can he get closer to old David Medina? He's going to spin it just for good measure there. That was an exciting moment.
I think he may have gotten an unsafe pit exit penalty there. I don't know if you caught it, Mean Gene, but it looked like he crossed over that blue line before the cone. So he has to come back out and restart his run here.
No, you can't do that. I think we've all heard that chant before. You can't do that. Gonna start it again. So right now, looking at the qualifying efforts, David Medina still up at the top. Joe Vulpes gonna be in second. Jax Duvall, Gerald Rose, David Buell. One of those things is not the same. I'll let you decide which driver usually isn't up at the top there. Jared Kelly, Michael Serra, David Owens, David Brenner, and Brandon Shelton. You know, Shelton also ran really well in practice. So going to see what the number 2 does here today. Tommy Fox in 11th. That's that new addition to Gulf Coast Racing. The vacancy made by Joe Vulpes opens up the door for league veteran Tommy Fox, always putting down consistent laps. All right, so let's see what Jason Landry can do. Going to bring it out of 4. He's got that thing buried.
Woo! Look at that lap time.
What in the world?
What a lap time.
29-2.
What a great lap.
Johnny Replay, are the league officials already moving over there toward the 56 pit to strip that car down?
Oh, yeah, they're checking everything.
Unbelievable. What a great time by the Canadian there.
They're even counting the lug nuts.
Go ahead.
They're even counting the lug nuts. Make sure they're all there.
Hey, I can count to 1. There's Jake Shea out there, FOCM driver. Had a great last week. Jake did, hoping to follow that up with some more efforts here. He's running in that 77, the fourth driver on that FOCM team. FOCM really wanted to make a run here at Gulf Coast Racing this year. Fast lap 30.08. Gonna start the 77 back in 23rd. Not the effort that he wanted, but hey, you know, you got a race setup and you got a qualifying setup. So imagine Jake Shea out there running his race setup. You know, just because you're not fast by yourself, that just means it's going to draft and cut through traffic even better. That's what they say, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's very true. It looks like qualifying is wrapping up here. So we got a little something special here now this week. Big shout out to Kevin Kyle for giving this to us.
Well, give it to us, Kevin.
Good morning, everybody. Larry McReynolds here with NASCAR and Fox. You know, America's crew chief. Welcome to the Bonfire Premier Cup Series. You know the deal. All right, all right, all right. Drivers, start your engines. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go iRacing.
It's Larry Mack. That's America's crew chief right there, giving us a little boogity, boogity, boogity and a little all right, all right, all right. Right here live at Legacy Motorsports. Qualifying is done. It is the Canadian Jason Landry taking the pole for Ignition Point Racing. Front row, he's going to be joined by David Medina of FOCM Racing. Second row, you're going to have Joe Vulpes, the Animal House custom driver, formerly of Gulf Coast Racing. Next to him, going to be Kyle Lynott. Kyle, you know he is chomping at the bit. Last week, Kyle led the most laps at the Puckett 300, a shortened race, and Kyle got caught on the wrong side of that fuel window. Let's see what the 988 has in store for us here today. Jax Duvall going to start in 5th. Next to him, the guy that gave him his pink slip, captain of Pony Up Motorsports, Jerry Rose, going to start in 6th. David Buell going to start in 7th. Jared Kelly, the double nickel, going to find himself in 8th. Kevin Kyle starting in 9th. And Michael Serra, that's going to be our top 10.
Going through the rest of the field, you got David Owens going to start in 11th alongside David Brenner. Brandon Shelton going to start in 13th. Tommy Fox 14th. Jose Medina will start in 15th. Ricky Mandela 16th. Jake Johnson will start in 17th. Paul Ferdiani will start in 18th. Looking further on back through the field, you got Chris Smith, Zach Clausen, Wayne Newman, Todd Dunn, Jake Shea, Tim Darby, Eric Gambrell, and Stephen Neal didn't put down lap times. And just to double check, that is the end of the field. So those are your drivers, 26 drivers going to go out there today for battle in today's race. 50 laps until the stage. And I hope you guys enjoy seeing the new ticker there on the top left.
Welcome, 225 here live on the Vortex Racing Network. 3 wide in the booth. Mean Gene, Money, Smokin' Joe, and Johnny Replay bringing us all of the action here live from Legacy, Charlotte. This is the showdown we were waiting for. We missed out last week on Landry, but here he is today next to last week's winner, slowly bringing him around. Pace car is going to come off. Keeping an eye on that front row. Landry on the inside with that 56. Medina on the outside, waiting for the flag man. Away we go, and Jason Landry on the inside is going to lead us into one. Outside lane, David Medina by himself, but he's going to keep it side by side. There's Joe Volpus trying to make the inside work. Duval going to cut down behind him. Outside lane now, Kyle Lynott moves to the third car. David Buell, he's running back in that 52 Marlboro on the inside with that beautiful Kyle Busch. Rebel paint scheme is David Owens. Coming out of four, Landry still in control by 3 car lengths. Jason Landry's going to lead lap number 1.
Yep, a really good start to the race there for Jason Landry. He's able to take that pole position that he got. We were kind of rushing to get through the whole field there real quick. Just want to give a quick shout out to him, of course, for getting the pole here. The Sim Racing Nation pole position for today's race was, of course, Jason Landry. I think it's always a fun time when you're able to win your own sponsorship award, right?
It is, and that is a great sponsor right there, Sim Racing Nation. You can see the QR code right there if you've never visited. It's just a community of drivers. Sometimes they sell stuff, sometimes they give setups. Sim Racing Nation, a great opportunity to network with other drivers and just see what the skinny is on the various tracks and updates as we all are in this iRacing community together. I'll tell you who's not together with anybody. That's Landry. He's running out there by himself, wasting no time as last year's champion now finds himself back up into first. The guy chasing him last year is chasing him again. And then look at third place, Joe, Kyle Lynott. I told you he'd be hungry. This is like a guy ordering 3 combo meals at the Burger King. Last week, the rain shortened the race on him. Finds himself on the wrong end of that fuel window. Here today, started 4th, already up into 3rd, running strong. Behind him, the Florida man, and then Joe Volpus. Right now, looks like quickest movers out on the track gonna be the 21 of Stephen Neal, finds himself up 5 spots into 21st. Also, Brandon Shelton already making a charge up 5 spots into 8th place. Biggest drop so far going to be the 51 Ford of Jerry Rose. Guess he needed to stop at Arby's and get that Jamocha shake because he's driving that thing in the wrong direction.
Well, I will say this is a great improvement over the last time he started 6th place here. That time he was in the inside wall before we even came off turn 2. So this is a great improvement. Car's still going in the forward direction, and here at the end of lap 6.
Maybe that's why he's running in the second lane while everyone else is down in the preferred lane, just avoiding the inside wall. David Brenner now going to dial in on the sophomore driver, and behind him you can see Jose Medina as well, Michael Serra. A little bit of a gap between the 51 there and the double nickel of Jared Kelly in front of him. So you can already see the roads, the stop sign has been put up there. Let's see how long Brenner takes until he gets a little bit impatient. David Brenner, he's got a slew of victories to his name, so he's got no time for sophomore foolishness. Up front, though, I'll tell you, that lead, not as big as it was. Look at Medina, the David of Medina's, keeping it tight with Jared Kelly here on lap number 8. Kyle Lynott not going anywhere, and Duval as well. Really single file, but equally spaced out. The temptation to downshift seems to be striking everyone. Look at these lap times. 29.86 that last lap. I think these guys are not holding back right now, Joe.
Yeah, and you can see the difference, I think, between Landry and Medina right now is that clean air that Landry has. You know, if we look actually at the fastest lap of the race for some of these guys, David Medina's fastest lap was a 29.5, so we're already 4/10 off of that. You know, you're talking about how Landry ran a 29.8 that last time by. He's already 3/10 off his fastest lap of the race as well. And we're only 10 laps into the race. So I think we're already starting to see those guys either try and start saving some tires, or they might be falling off a little bit already.
Speaking of falling off, I'm looking on my leaderboard, and I got Jake O'Shea only on lap number 3. Appears that the number 77 FOCM driver not having a good one and finds himself in the, not in victory lane. Don't take the camera there. He actually is in the pit somewhere. Not having a good day. That's the 77 of O'Shea. Finds himself just dead stopped, waiting to see. We'll get an update down there, what's happening to him. Meanwhile, Landry, you know, we said that lead was 0.3 of a second. It's still about the same. Nobody making any moves up front as of yet. Only on lap 11. Seems like they've been able to maintain that low 30-second lap speed, waiting to see when tires are going to be an issue. Of course, the boys do have 5 sets of tires, 1 on the car and 4 in the pit waiting for them. Seems like they can make about 49 laps of fuel, so gonna be awful tight as far as the pushing this to the end. I think there might be a splash and go on the menu. We'll just have to see how the cautions end up. There you can see stage 150 laps. So do you save and make it to the end? But when are you going to slow down? Because out there right now, nobody's slowing down. I mean, shoot, last lap right there at 30.16. David Medina right next to him with his 30.16 as well. So seems like nobody's saving anything right now. Early in the season, great racing here. Of course, this is race number 2 of our 12-race
Can I cut you off there
season.
real quick?
Yeah.
I got the replay for you to see what happened today.
We're going to see some magic. Oh, he's out, too. That's unfortunate.
This was on lap 2, going to 3. Looks like he comes up. Okay, give me a second. Okay, comes up, hits the wall, and goes straight to the inner wall.
Oh, no.
Oh!
And
Man, you know, you would have thought he was driving the 01 car. You would have thought he was John Beverly there with the way he flew off the grass there. Dukes of Hazzard it across the track.
I was waiting for the horn to go off.
yeah, and the right front wheel is not moving at all.
That is incredible.
That's the most air I've seen since Jordan was playing basketball. Wow. Incredible. Jake, though, so he's off to the infield care center. We're going to monitor that situation for the 77 of Jake O'Shea. Thoughts and prayers, of course, going his way. That was really unfortunate. Meanwhile, back on the track, Landry already starting to do the countdown of who's going to get lapped first. Looks like Tim Darby running in that number 13 Ford could be his first victim. 24 seconds now separating Landry from the 25th position car of Tim Darby. Going to need to pick it up, but with a 1.7 second lap differential between the two, I think you can count this thing off in the next. Don't ride up there, my friend. That's not where we go. So he's going to need to find a little bit more speed in that number 13 Ford. That is a sweet paint scheme he's got on that, though. Do you think that was a Paul Ferdiani job?
Yeah, Paul does make some wonderful paint schemes out there. Plus EV Paints, of course, great work, as always, from them. You know, I think they're going to be our sponsor again this week, actually, on Big Truckin' Tuesday. So looking forward to that there for that truck race at Talladega.
He loves those super speedways because that's where all the wrecks happen. Looks like Tim Darby going to go ahead and bring her down, starting to think about tires maybe and fuel here on lap number 18. David Medina still in chase of Landry. They're going to put the 13 Ford a lap down here on lap number 19. That 0.3 of a second lead, now 0.5 of a second. But the bigger story is Kyle Lynott starting to fade away from these two titans of Bonfire. Behind them, you can see Duval as well, just a slight fade as the tire wear starting to affect these drivers. You could see a full 0.3 of a second slower was Duval and Lynott versus the two titans up front. Behind Duval, you can see Kyle, Kevin Kyle, Joe Volpus, Brandon Shelton, all still doing battle in there. Biggest gainer, though, is got to be the rookie, the 846, what a number, of Eric Gambrell. Gambrell finds himself up 11 positions. Didn't get to qualify. Gambrell had a doggy doo-doo issue and found himself not able to qualify. Starts in the back. Now, he doesn't mind that I tell everybody his personal business. It's fine. But finds himself up 11 spots into the 14th position. Biggest dropper continues to be captain of Pony Up. That's the 51 of Jerry Rose, now down 11 spots into the 17th, and that's pretty much where we're more accustomed seeing Chrome Dome running, going the wrong way. Behind him, there's a nice rookie, Wayne Newman. We mentioned Gambrell as a rookie, currently running up in that 846 car. Wayne Newman, also a rookie, running in the 808. So those are a couple of guys we're going to keep an eye on. We had a fun Rookie of the Year race last year that came down to Jose Medina battling with Ricky Mandela. Mandela, number 3 driver, ended up taking that win for Rookie of the Year. So this year, we're going to keep an eye on Gambrell and Newman as the year progresses and see what they can do. Right now, Newman up 3 spots into the 18th, and he's got that 51 Ford dead in his sights. Behind him, Paul Ferdiani also putting on a charge. EV Plus Paint Schemes, Paul Ferdiani. If you need a paint scheme done, that's your guy. Check him out. He's got some sweet schemes available, and also does the custom work too, so you can make custom designs and he'll put them, screen them right on to your car. Behind him, Chris Smith also making a nice little run. That's the 37 Louisiana T car. Chris trying to make it away here. He's dropped a spot, but this track's so fast. If I would have told you guys running 30 seconds and 30.3 seconds are just falling behind, you'd have laughed at me. But that is indeed what we're seeing. Chris Smith right now, you can see only 1/10 of a second off of that leader pace. But that's really what separates the great ones from the almost great ones. Chris Smith still putting on a fine show for the fans here today. We mentioned him earlier. How about Ricky Mandela? Go back to that 21. He's the very next car. Rookie of the Year, not having quite the success. Sophomore slump right in the driver's seat of Ricky Mandela. Started in 16th, faded back a little bit. But, Joe, what do you think? This could be just a situation of guys trying to save tires and just doing a little bit of testing out there to see how far they can push these tires before they go for a hard run later in the race. Lap 50 is going to be that stage, right? Maybe they're trying to save those 2 laps.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Ricky was thinking. I heard from their team meeting that those guys were going to try and make it to the stage without pitting. So if you look at his teammates right now, David Buell is running right now in 8th place. He's been running some pretty solid lap times, and he's just doing what he can. And then it looks like Joe Volk is right in front of him. I believe he's actually, if we go on board with him here, I think he's actually saving some fuel. Here, if we take a little listen, yeah, there you go. Can hear absolutely nothing entering the corner there because he's clutching it to making sure he can make it to lap 50 as well.
Well, I'll tell you who is not going to make it in one run. That's the double nickel of Jared Kelly. He's bringing it down into the pits. You can see him in his stall right now. Looks like he just did a little splash and go with that 7-second pit stop time. But Double Nickel already figuring this stage is going to need a gas brake. Nobody's saving out there. Everybody's pushing. You talked about the few guys that are saving, running in the back. They are really hoping no caution will come out and alter their current pit scheme.
Yeah, so, looking at these guys, Jared Kelly. Oh, are we going slow? I think we might have a caution.
Well, this might be one of those mystery cautions where there was a wreck that didn't bring out a caution, and then everybody slowed down. No, there it is. It's official. Lap number 29. Finally, gonna bring out a caution. Makes you wonder what happened out there.
I got it for you. No wonder, no more.
No, my amazement will come to an end. Let's take a look. Looks like the 51 up there.
The 51 and the 37.
Woo!
Hey, straightened him back out, though. What a gentleman, right?
Little neighborly love. Little accidental.
Go back, show that again. That was great. That's kind of like when you're giving somebody a warning, right? You're like, all right, look, you're going slow. I'm tired of your stuff. Just so you know, right here. I'm tired of you, man. I'm really tired. I'm not gonna end your day. I'm gonna straighten you out. There you go. But I'm really tired of you going slow in front of me.
It's like when your mom would get mad at you and she'd just give you that look, and then you'd go on about.
That was it. Chris Smith giving a look to the 51, telling him, "Look, man, you let all those other people go by. Why don't you let me go by?" Oh, all right. So that's going to change the strategy, isn't it, Johnny? It looks like now all these cars coming down the pits. Who's taking tires and who's just taking fuel? What do you think?
I'd imagine everybody's taking everything. You only got 20 more laps to the stage. You heard earlier that they had the plan to go without stopping. Might as well take advantage of this and get everything out of the way.
This is fascinating. I'm looking at the lap times, Joe, and it looks like a lot of guys just going with the fuel. Kyle Lynott, 862. David Medina, 917. That might be right sides. Kevin Kyle, Joe Volpus with extended stops. Maybe they're getting ready to make a charge for the stage, taking tires, only finding themselves in 14th and 15th place.
Yeah, I think taking tires here is a strategy where if you take tires here, then you're pretty much putting yourself in a box later in the race. If there's a late race caution, then you really don't have the choice of putting a set of tires on towards the end. But, of course, with the way the points work this season, as you know, Mean Gene, no bonus points. The only points that are scored are the stage points and then, of course, the race points. So I think these guys are thinking, let me get all those stage points that I can. And I think Joe's just trying to protect his points lead. Kevin Kyle trying to put himself in a good place in the points as well.
Who's going to put themselves in a good place right now? Jose Medina up in the front. He, Owens, Jake Johnson, Mandela, and Todd Dunn. 5 cars choosing to stay out there. Poor Medina, he's probably imagined he's going to get a point for leading a lap. Is that not a thing anymore?
There's no bonus points for leading the lap. Those points are gone. The lead lap points are gone. The pole point, the fastest lap, all those points, the race winner points, they're all gone.
Wow, sounds like every relationship I've ever had. Straight gone. But we'll see, though. That's still a good starting position for those drivers. Jason Landry took fuel, finds himself up there in 5th. First guy to take tires in the running order. Looks like maybe David Medina took 2 perhaps, and go all the way back. You can see Wayne Newman in 14th, Kevin Kyle in 15th. They took 2. Joe Volpus in 12th. Looks like he took 4. So gonna see how that works out. Little further back, you can also see other drivers that did take tires. Oh, looks like Rose ended up not taking tires, came back down and took tires. That'll put him in 23rd. Well, that'll be fun to see drivers with new tires at the very end of the field. Meanwhile, look at Jared Kelly finding himself a lap down the double nickel. That'll be interesting to see him battle back from the back. Did not take tires. Up front, Jose Medina is your control car, bringing it into the Geico restart zone. Away we go. Oh, and they're piled up on the inside bottom lane. Did not get a good jump. Look at it, accordion all the way back. Finally gets it rolling. That looks like the 72 of Todd Dunn just didn't go. Kind of threw off the inside, creating a cluster in the middle. That's some exciting racing. Look at Duvall. He's going to make it 3 wide under Dunn. He don't mind. Going to race him in there. Outside lane, Joe Vulpes. He does mind, and he quickly gets by Dunn to avoid that 3 wide situation. Medina holding off the charge of David Owens up front. You can see single file back. There's Jake Johnson in the traditional orange number 32. Rick Mandela finds himself in 4th. And then Landry Lynott, Brandon Shelton, David Brenner, Joe Vulpes, Jax Duvall. That's your top 10. Oh, looks like Medina was a genius staying out there. He's got older tires, but he's also got dirty air that he can just drop out the back like oil in a Spy Hunter video game. Him and Owens pushing away from the field. Jake Johnson got an angry Jason Landry right behind him. And then look at them behind. You can see single file, double file, threatening to go 3 wide. It's a hornet's nest here with just 15 laps to go before the stage break.
Yeah, right now it looks like David Owens trying to do his best to get in front of Jose Medina, but I think that dirty air is really starting to affect him a lot. Looking further on back, though, Joe Vulpes is right now that first guy coming through on those fresher tires. He's battling with Sheldon for 6th place right now. Kevin Kyle not having as much success coming through the field. You see him, he's a little bottlenecked right now back there in 10th, 11th, 12th.
That's a big problem. You might have the fresher tires, but once you get caught up in this mess, there's just nowhere to go. You just talked about Kevin Kyle. Look who's next to him. That's David Medina. That's Kyle Lynott. All those fast guys. David Buell, Michael Serra. All these fellows with sub 29 or sub 30 second qualifying and practice time. So much speed out here on the track. Extra set of tires, it seemed like, with the 5. So not a problem of using tires, but the question is saving them for perhaps a little 20-lap shootout at the end of the day. Little gap in front of Duvall there might be slowing down Lynott and Medina. Those are really fast guys. Remember, we saw those 3 cars in the top 5 before that caution came out on lap number 28. Now, a little bit of 3 wide action. Duvall, he's used to it, but normally he's the slide job on the bottom. And Kevin Kyle going to make it through, taking advantage of the Florida man. Look who's back on the throttle immediately, That's Jax Duvall ripping the top side.
Man, did you see that? Kevin Kyle, he was going down there in Kyle Petty's space. If you remember that All-Star race 30 years ago, going all the way down to the apron trying to make some passes on people.
Oh, I remember that race, Joe. Meanwhile, look at the double wide right behind there. Great action. Up front, look at Joe Vulpes. He's sneaking up slowly. Remember, Vulpes got the 4 freshies, so he'd love to get a hold of that. Little bit further back, well, look at the Medina Kyle. Lynott's action is still just fantastic as well. Looking at that bottleneck of drivers with different sets of tires as they are trying to go through. You can go even further back and look at more double wide. That's just where the action is, though, right there watching those guys. Look at Buell. That's the rookie Gambrel trying to make it work. He's got veteran Tommy Fox and newly minted Gulf Coast driver Tommy Fox. Uh-oh. You can't do that. 808, Wayne Newman sideways. Who was in the grass? I missed it.
No, David Medina. I think the wreck was so great that it affected my stuff. We're still green though. We're still green.
That's a calamity right there. All right, so still green. Jose Medina still your leader. Looks like Joe Vulpes got by former teammate David Owens, and now the 11 Ford of Vulpes trying to reel in the pony up motorsport star Jose Medina. Medina almost took that amateur title last year, fell subject to the faster Rick Mandella, but today it's the Jose Medina story. There's always a Medina in the front. If it's not David, it's Jose today. Gonna lead there on lap number 41. What do you got, Johnny?
I got that replay. You want to check that out?
Oh, you know Mean Gene loves watching replays. Move A to B right there.
Look at all those guys on top of each other.
I know. Not Mark safe from Farmer today.
Oh, and neither was the wall.
Look at Sarah. He's in the green 27. Newman just spinning.
Medina.
Oh, that's David Medina right there.
That's a really tough
Blinking out. Who is that? Is that the
That's
808?
Wayne Newman. That's Wayne Newman.
Wayne Newman as well. He got him. Looks like everybody got it rolling again, but that looked like a little bit of net code and then into the wall and, 4-car combo.
Yeah,
they don't even offer a 4-piece combo at the Kentucky Fried Chicken, do they?
I don't think so. That's a really tough break, though, for those guys. And right now we got 7 to go here in the stage. Vulpes was able to get around Medina with those fresher tires. But look at who's coming behind him. Kevin Kyle with his fresh tires as well, running equal lap times to Vulpes. If that starts to flip around here, he might have a chance to catch him for the stage break.
Kevin Kyle definitely trying to reel in, and with those lap times should get through Medina. Getting by him might be another situation. David Owens still maintaining speed. Landry now moving up to 5. But hey, you get points up the top 10. Who else are we looking at? We're looking at the 32 of Jake Johnson. Brandon Shelton in the number 2 finds himself in 7th. Behind him, Kyle Lynott. Little bit of fear, but he is still rolling. Looking really strong up there. Look at him rip that rail, Brandon Shelton, in that 2 FOCM. Then you got Kyle Lynott right there. He's got the tires. He's got the fuel. Going to feel good. As Rick Mandella, he decided not to take tires, stayed out, and finds himself in a possible top 10 at the end of the stage. Just 5 to go. And then rounding out the top 10, you got Eric Gambrell right there, pony up rookie, currently in 10th, up 15 spots. Behind him, though, David Buell. Buell always running strong, trying to chase him down, fighting for that last point for the stage, as there's just 4 more laps to go. Up front, though, Kyle did get by Medina. Kevin Kyle, that is, and now 1.2 seconds between him and Vulpes. Last lap was equal between Kyle and current leader Joe Vulpes, so he's going to have to find a little bit extra speed in that number 31 Chevrolet, Kevin Kyle, if he thinks he's going to chase down our leader right now. Joe Vulpes has to feel good. Last year, Vulpes, part-time driver. This year, full-time driver. And hey, Jose Medina deciding, you know what? I'm bringing her down. Medina did stay out that last lap. That caution on lap 28. Now, though, finds himself bringing it down. Little bit of miscommunication. Pony Up team thinking they got points for leading laps. A little bit of calamity and confusion on the microphone now as they find out there was absolutely nothing to be gained there. Medina now getting the fuel he needs. 14.9 seconds. So that's unfortunate. Little rule change affecting the driver. We'll see if Medina can recover from this early confusion. Who doesn't need to recover? Joe Vulpes. You can see led 7 laps right there. 2 to go. Looking strong here at Charlotte Legacy.
Yep, right now we are not at Charlotte Legacy. We are at Charlotte 2025 because that's the only version there is anymore there, Mean Gene. I think
no, it says Legacy. I can read.
Listen, I can tell you this is not Legacy.
No, I disbelieve.
You disbelieve. Listen,
I rolled a 20. I can show you the dice.
Let me tell you something as we come. I'll wait until after Vulpes crosses the line to win the stage here. As here he comes.
Oh, you're calling it. And here, look, you got it right.
There it is.
All right. So remember, top 10 drivers are going to be receiving points for this stage. Joe Vulpes going to take first. Kevin Kyle, what a great recovery from Kevin. Going to take second here in the stage. Jason Landry took the pole, now takes third in the stage. David Owens, the number 8 Gulf Coast captain, going to get fourth. Behind him, Jake Johnson. What a great run by the number 32, getting fifth. Brandon Shelton, going to take sixth. Kyle Lynott, 7. Mandela going to take 8th. Gambrel did get by Chris Smith to take 9th, 2 points to the rookie. And then Chris Smith going to finish in 10th here to end the stage. Great racing. Look at Jake Johnson. He says, I don't care if the pits are empty. I'm out of gas. Well, let's fix this thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really tough break. Ran out of fuel. Oh, he's going to have to tow it too. Oh, that's a really tough break. Ran out of fuel. Ran out of momentum as well, and has to take the tow. That is a really tough break for him.
Especially considering we only had the 2 cautions. So if this thing continues to go green, Lucky Dogs might be at a premium. The way I'm seeing it right now, looks like 19 cars on the lead lap. Jake Cachet, of course, with his unfortunateness at the beginning, Dukes of Hazzard style. The only guy out, I'm looking at Wayne Newman, who looks about 5 laps down. And then Jake Johnson, of course, still in the pit as the driver's bringing it around. That's going to cost Jake Johnson a lap. Pits are open, business picking up. How we looking down there, Johnny?
Everybody's coming in. Everybody. Except for 3 people.
Well, I imagine some of those dudes looking for a wave around, ready to take a chance. You can see Jared Kelly. He last pitted on 26, so this is a big risk by the double nickel. Jose Medina staying out, but he just pitted on lap 47, just 5 laps ago. Not quite a risk for him. Todd Dunn as well pitted on lap 50. So for those guys that stayed out, they are looking for that wave around. Kelly taking the biggest swing, though, considering lap 26. Now Kelly, though, was the lucky dog, I'm assuming. He is speeding around finally now, going to make his way down into the pits and take fuel as well. Kelly needed that last pitting on 26. Only would have had about 22 laps of fuel remaining, whereas, of course, we talked to this earlier, the car should be able to make 49 without any issue. Coming out of the pits, Joe Vulpes took 4 again and finds himself up at the front. Kevin Kyle behind him. Landry, Owens, Shelton, Mandela, Gambrel, Smith, Lynott, and Buell pretty much staying the same top 10. Behind them, Duval going to be riding in number 11. We're going to keep an eye on the Florida man, not known for his patience when he's stuck mid-pack. Tommy Fox behind him, the veteran, looking strong. We'll see if he can move up. He's up 2 spots from his starting position. So, going to keep an eye on the top 12. Other drivers of note, Joe. How about David Brenner running mid-pack today? That's not something you typically see. The Gulf Coast driver finding himself back in 14th, needs to make his way through. Jared Kelly back on the lead lap. But look at this. Jared Kelly 18th, David Medina 19th, Jose Medina 20th. Not names you're used to seeing being the last cars on the lead lap.
No, Jared Kelly, of course, got caught on the wrong end of the pit strategy. Same with Jose Medina. David Medina got caught in that wreck there you saw on the front stretch, and that really put him so far behind. And that's just really, really affected him here for this first part of the race. Speaking of being affected, looks like Kyle Lynott come down pit road here, and he's going to give up his track position.
Kyle Lynott, he's always doing things, and here he is doing another one of those things now. Going to take a little top off, I would imagine. Maybe a little extra gas will cut down on his pit time next time. We'll just have to keep an eye on the 988 as he's doing things. Up front, Kevin Kyle, Joe Vulpes. Looks like Vulpes selecting the outside lane here today. Needs a good restart so he can get into that preferred lane position. Of course, later in the run, the outside lane of 1 and 2 gets very attractive, but early on, hugging the apron has seemed to be the way to go, especially on fresh tires. Here we go. Volpus is going to roll it into the restart zone. Look at Kyle lagging behind. Away we go. Volpus. He's going to bring David Owens with him. Volpus clears. Owens, though, can't get past the front quarter. And now Owens and Kyle side by side. Kevin Kyle going to dive it down to the apron with the preferred line. But Owens rolling it on the outside. Now finally can't clear him. Still side by side for Kevin Kyle and David Owens. Behind them, Jason Landry, Brandon Shelton making chase, Rick Mandela, Eric Gambrell side by side doing battle as well. It's chaos here at Charlotte.
Yeah, we got some great battling going on throughout the whole field. Joe Volpus able to get a good launch there, get away. David Owens looks like he's finally cleared for second. And look, he's cleared the path here. Looks like Jason Landry is going to get third place. Kevin Kyle not having a good restart here. He's falling back in a hurry.
Now, not what Kevin Kyle wanted to see, but if you're on that outside, especially on those older tires, look at that move by Gambrell looking under Mandela. 37 of Chris Smith riding the rail on the outside. Inside lane is that preferred lane on these fresh tires. And here we go, the Florida man now making moves. This will make your butt pucker when you see the 84 in your rearview mirror. Not a good sight if you're the rookie Gambrell. Smith still trying to make that outside work. You can see Buell as well, the 51 of Rose, looking down below Buell, but he's got the 22 of Brenner as well. And look at Florida man. He's gone left. He's gone right. He looks like a running back juking.
Yeah, we got some crazy action. Look at all this side-by-side action here from 7th on back, mind you. So we're pretty much towards the front of the field here, and it's just going throughout the whole field. This is some great racing.
Keeping an eye on Brenner right there. That just lets you know how fast and terrible it is to be in that dirty air. I mean, he's stuck behind guys. He puts a lap down. And look, throws right into the back of Buell there. Nobody can make any moves. Stephen Neal, Michael Serra on the outside. Little bit of a wall touch. Look at Tommy Fox. He pumps the clutch. Says, I don't want anything to do with you fools. I'll let you wreck. Block finally. Duval gonna get by Gambrell. Gambrell quickly falling in line, picking up that draft. But this Buell, he gets loose. Well, that's one way to pass a guy.
Yeah, he just lost a bunch of spots there, getting loose down the backstretch. That's a really tough break for him. He's going to have a lot of work in front of him. Look at all those guys that got past him. He went from about 8th, 9th place to 16th on that one little loose move.
That was a brutal move there. Of course, he was stuck right in the middle. Dirty air in the front. Getting pushed in the back, maybe net goat, who even knows what happened. Meanwhile, look at Chris Smith still making that outside work. That is one of the consistent guys on the outside right now. That's that 37. I think that might help him save a little bit of tire later in this run. We'll just have to keep an eye on that tire wear as we go. Meanwhile, all the same fellas seem to be holding position, but they're going to get tighter again, and then we'll see what happens. Smith now finally, with the clean air in front of him, gets to lead that lap. Choose that preferred line. Look at the outside lane, though. Sarah looking up there. Brenner looking up there. Stephen Neal in that new 45 green paint job looking up there. That's a nice car.
Yeah, nice little paint scheme going on there. And look at all the spots he's gained in this race as well there, Mean Gene. Look at that. He started way back in last, 26th place, and now he's running in the top 10 here, 60 laps into the race.
Yep, up 16 spots, looking really good. Great run here by the brand new Gulf Coast member of Stephen Neal. He's got a rear mirror full of chrome dome, though. Hope it doesn't blind him. Transitional race. Hopefully that sun will go down, make it easier there on the 45. Look at Sarah and David Brenner still stuck behind in the middle of this traffic. Tommy Fox not going anywhere as well. You can see him hugging that apron. This just shows you how tough that outside lane is to make it work. Oh, a little bit of touch. Rose gets into the back of Neal. Neal keeps her going straight. And looks like David Buell's starting to creep back up there in that 52 Marlboro.
Yeah, it looks like he's starting to get some spots back. But look at who's still behind him in this running order. Jared Kelly is right behind him, right? Look at that. That's really deep in the field for him at this point. 16th place, 15th in that battle. Right behind them in 17th is David Medina. He's still trying to recover. And right behind the both of them in 18th is Kyle Anott. He's in 18th here since he came down pit road that extra time. Those guys all still struggling, and Jose Medina struggling the most, not able to make any passes since the race went back green, still in 20th place.
Jose Medina only 6.5 seconds behind the leader, so not really in any danger of being taken a lap down as of yet. Another guy to mention, look at Jake Johnson. He is being shown a lap down back in 22nd. Remember, Jake, of course, running out of fuel, forced to tow, but he had great speed with his stage run where he finished in 5th. So Jake would love to see a caution come out. Right now, though, lead car that is a lap down would be Tim Darby. Darby waiting patiently, hoping that there's a caution, of which he is not a part of. Remember, Darby was the first driver to go a lap down, so great to see him still running strong in that 13, waiting for the opportunity to get back on the lead lap. Meanwhile, up front, still the Joe Volpa show with David Owens making chase. Former teammates, now rivals. Owens, 0.4 of a second behind him. Looks like all of the top drivers did take fresh tires that last pit stop on 52. Medina, of course, stayed out. That's Jose, who had pitted and took tires on 47. Paul Ferdiani, only guy that didn't take tires, back on lap number 53.
Yeah, you can see his pit stop was only 6 seconds there, and it's starting to affect him. They're falling all the way back to 20th place now for himself. So he's having some serious trouble just being on those older tires. But of course, back up front, David Owens looks like he's really closed that gap here to Vulpes, and you can see he's running just a little bit better lap times. And right behind them, Jason Landry, look at that, he's running a little bit better lap times, and Brandon Sheldon right behind them right now. Those guys all running about 1/10 of a second faster than Vulpes, so they're reeling them in here at this point.
Yep. Duval as well, 30.17. So he was 1/10 of a second faster than Vulpes as well. So top 5, all showing really good speed, trying to close that gap on current leader Joe Vulpes. We're on lap number 68 here live on the Vortex Racing Network. 3 wide up in the booth. I'm Mean Gene Money, Smoking Joe, and Johnny Replay, bringing you all the action live here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Race number 2 of the Bonfire Premier Cup Racing League, as we are seeing our regular season start to show down. And it did not take Landry very long to come back from his one race vacation to now find himself 0.6 of a second behind the leader. Brandon Shelton, though, not going anywhere either. The law is here today, and he is making a fine showing for Team FOCM.
Yeah, started 13th. He's up to 4th in the FOCM 225. I think it's a good way to show some team spirit here by running well in the FOCM race on Team FOCM. So good job by him to this point. Right now, he's really starting to close in. These guys are all within 0.7 of a second now of the leader. As we look at the last lap time for Sheldon, the last guy in this line, he was about 1/10 faster. Let's see, this time by 1/10.5 that time. So the gap's really starting to close down. Look at that, Jason Landry starting to make a move.
It's game time now, side by side. David Owens going to take it a little bit higher. Landry touches that apron. Great speed. Looks like Brandon Shelton is going to choose to push the 56, riding that preferred lane down on the apron. We are about 19 laps into this tire run, so there should still be enough rubber. Clean pass. Landry gets by. Shelton stuck back in 4th behind David Owens. He got Landry by, but now it's him, and he's all by himself trying to get by the number 8 of David Owens, and that is no easy task, my friend.
No, it's not. It looks like actually he might be letting him go here. Look at that.
This is a veteran move. Look at what Owens just did. He's recognizing speed and where his tires are in the world. Why run side by side? Let the rest of the field catch up. Instead, he just takes a little bit different line. Shelton gets by. Speaking of getting by, look at Landry. This is for the lead.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now is some of these guys trying to do something to make their fuel go a little bit further. David Owens fell way off the pace that last lap. I think he went into fuel save mode. Vulpes as well, I think he was backing up to these guys to try and save a little bit of fuel himself. And it looks like it's worked out for him. Maybe if he's able to hold in the draft of Landry, you might be able to make this work. Remember, if we want to make it a one-stop, we have to make it, I'd say, to at least lap 100, and then you have to save that fuel on the last run anyways.
Yeah, 49 laps is what the thing says when you get in the car, so you can push it a little bit further. 48.9. 48.9 is what it said when I took a few laps here earlier today. Brandon Shelton, though, he's not counting backwards. This guy's just got that throttle all the way to the floor. Pedal to the metal, baby, and he gets by Joe Vulpes. Now, Landry up front, Shelton, then Vulpes. Look at here, Owens definitely saving fuel. Gonna let the Florida man go on by. David Owens ran a 31.3, 1 second slower than Jason Landry that last lap. So definitely some crafty strategy going on down there. Hey, Johnny, can you see what they're talking about over with Owens's pit? Are these guys playing games, or is it mum is the word over there in that 8 pit stall?
As far as I know, mum's the word. I'm not hearing anything.
Look at these guys. They're playing games already, Joe, and we would expect nothing less from Mr. Zero Chill himself. David Owens, glasses on, poker face, engaged. Up front, the draft is engaged as Brandon Shelton trying to reel in the ignition point driver, Jason Landry. Landry got a championship in his pocket from last year. Shelton says, I don't care. I want my own trophy. Trying to make chase here. 74 to go at Charlotte. Other action onto the track worth mentioning. David Medina finally crawling through the, I'm not going to say the muck, but I'm going to say the soup, as Medina and Lynott, still attached at the hip, find their way into the top 10. Jared Kelly behind them as well. So the Medina-Lynott-Kelly train finally making its way through traffic, but there is a long way to go and a short time to get there before they find themselves able to battle back for top 5 or even victory formation. You can see Kelly right there. He had a little bit of an incident, but firmly in the 11th spot. Tommy Fox behind him. Behind him, David Buell. Buell running so strong, trying to fight his way back up. And look at that, Jose Medina. Early struggles after that pit fiasco, but now Jose Medina piloting his 54 Toyota up into the 14th as well. I'm going to steal a term from one of our other broadcast partners, Joe. Do you know what that is?
Is it Brandon Shelton's going to go to the inside for the lead on Jason Landry?
No, it's cream rises to the top, but Brandon Shelton does make that move. Look at him hugging that apron deep into this run, making it work. What speed out of that number 2 Chevrolet, finding himself leading lap number 78. The U.S. Air Force number 2 ahead of Landry. Landry not going anywhere now, though. You can see just how deep he is into that backside of the 2. Joe Vulpes not going anywhere. I'll tell you who is going somewhere. That's David Owens, still running 31-second laps, falling all the way back to 12th now. David Owens definitely playing the fuel mileage game. Johnny Replay said they're not talking down in that pit, but with those lap times, Joe, I think we can all figure out what they're cooking.
Yeah, running that far back. I mean, he's given up 8 spots here to this point, so obviously in some sort of a fuel save situation for himself. So he's, let's see if we can go on board with him. Maybe we could see if he's in some sort of serious clutch mode here or not.
Ooh, Ferdiani and Gambrel both being shown in the pits now, so maybe the pits are going to open for some guys.
Yeah, if you know you can't make it on one stop to the finish, this is a great time to come pit here. Owen's not really shifting down. I don't know if that's really the best idea to try and save fuel, but looks like that's what he's going to try and do. If we look more towards the front, I know Ricky Mandela, he's somebody that's was trying to go 50 laps that last time, didn't pit it all in the first stage, so he's probably out there saving fuel. Look at the guy directly in front of him there, too. David Medina Sr. all the way up into 6th place, and he's probably doing his best to make sure he has enough fuel. Looking in front of him, Kevin Kyle. See if maybe he's doing anything. Oh, he's shifting as well. Duval in front of him. Looks like he's running flat out. So as you get further and further to the front, I think these guys are still running flat out. Let's see what Joe's doing here. It looks like Joe might be running flat out as well. come off 4. See what he does going into 1. That is not flat out.
I'm looking at the telemetry. Vulpes is actually 0.4 of a second slower than the other top 8 cars. So I think he might be also playing a little bit of a fuel strategy game. Speaking of games, how about Gambrel just came in on that last pit stop? 48 seconds was his pit time. So something bad definitely happened to Gambrel. They're pitting on lap number 80.
Yeah, I would say that was most likely some sort of a penalty, whether it be a speeding penalty or a pit penalty of some sort for blending properly. So a tough break for him. That just looks like the time just looks like that's a black flag to me.
Other drivers of note, his teammate Zach Clausen running in that 43. He had an 8-minute pit stop. So Zach Clausen looking at the world from a 45-degree angle there. Also, a little bit of difficulty there with that 8-minute pit stop. Finds himself 13 laps down, does Clausen. So, little touchy of the wall there by the 72. So, tough day for the Pony Up team as both Clausen and Gambrel trying to make battle. Their other 2 teammates, the 51 of Rose, up in 16th place, still on the lead lap, but that's all that I can say about that. And Jose Medina in 13th. He did lead at one point after a caution, but still trying to play recovery mode. I think he's done a good job. He's running with some fast guys. He's up there with Fox. He's up there with Buell. You know, if we get another caution, he gets back on the same strategy as everybody else, fresh tires and a full tank of fuel. Jose Medina might be somebody we could look at later, but for now, he's caught in the soup trying to get by the Coca-Cola 57 of Gulf Coast racer Tommy Fox.
Yeah, so it looks like this whole strategy thing's starting to play out here as well. 63 laps left in the race, so we got about 13 laps here before I think it's going to open up for this pit strategy to make it on one stop. So we're going to see when these guys start coming down. So you saw Vulpes, he was going a little bit slower, saving some fuel than the guys in front of him, so I would assume he's making sure he can make it there. We know Ricky Mandel is good at saving the fuel here at this track to make it that far. David Medina, I have faith that he can do pretty much anything with a race car. And of course, we know David Owen's backed way off the pace. Actually, he's still way off the pace. If we go,
but look at him now look at him with Brenner though. I mean, there's a little fight going on right here. Jake Johnson is a lap down, but Johnson trying to get by these 2 guys, and they were having a little bit of fun with Johnson there, not letting him by. They actually ran side by side for a minute, kind of putting the block on the 32. Really fun times for the 32 trying to get by these 2 guys.
Yeah, we've seen some absolutely chaotic racing here to this point in the race. We're coming up on what could be our final pit stop, so why don't we give them a little crank it up? What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
action in the pits. Looks like Jax Duvall's going to bring that 84 down for a little bit of fuel. We are on lap number 93, so gonna be tough for Duvall to stretch out an additional 57 laps. So this might come back to bite the Florida man in the behind, or maybe he's decided I ain't gonna stretch it. I'm gonna just go ahead and cut her in half. Come and short pit the rest of the field right now. So we'll just have to see what that does. What that does do, though, Joe, 16 cars on the lead lap. Duvall pitting on 92. Other guys that pitted recently, but definitely will need another stop. Ferdiani on 80, Michael Serra on 83, Eric Gambrell back on lap number 80. So those guys did cut the stage in half, but guaranteed themselves that they will need another pit stop before they can make it all the way to the end. You can see Gambrell right there. He's got Kevin Kyle in pursuit. Kyle is being shown as the third place driver. So Gambrell right in the middle of it. If he took fresh tires, it's not really helping. Last lap for Gambrell, 30.64, whereas leaders running 30.6. So not a lot of help there. Here we go. Jose Medina gonna split it in half as well, bringing it down into the pits on lap number 96. This still going to be tough to stretch, Joe. That would mean he still needs to put out 54 laps, and they're saying, 48 on a green flagger?
Yeah, this is still way too early to pit if you want to make it on that one stop. You can see Stephen Neal, a little bit of a slow pit stop for him, 17.2. So he's going to need to make up that time, plus whatever fuel that he's going to need as well. He's probably going to need a caution in order to get back into this one, based on where he is on the track and where everybody else is. So right now, out of the guys that pitted, Jax Duvall is the one that's the furthest forward. He's up to 15th, but he's, of course, still a lap down. So a lot of guys still, we're waiting to see what they do here for their final pit stop. And, yeah, we're coming down to it here. 53 to go, so we're going to see who's short and who's not.
Really want to try to push out another 5 laps out of these cars to give yourself a comfortable cushion to make it your last pit stop. Here comes Shelton, not going to get the comfort he needs. Hopefully he'll see a caution. You never can tell. Going to turn the lead over to Landry. Looks like David Medina also going to bring it down into the pits. I think this is just going to open the floodgates. When you see FOCM coming in like this, other teams are going to follow. These guys always running so fast, so consistently, seeming to have the inside scoop on what it's going to take. Here comes Gulf Coast driver Tommy Fox, the privateer Jake Johnson. Here comes Pony Up driver Jerry Rose. His teammate Medina just pitted a few moments ago. So this thing is opening up now for all the drivers. Here's FOCM driver Kevin Kyle. So nobody thinking they're going to stretch it, I think. I would imagine they're thinking that they're probably, if they don't get a caution, probably going to have to do a little splash and go. My question for you, Joe, if you knew you were going to have to take a caution, right, or an extra pit stop, why not cut it in half earlier, short pit the field, take tires, and have faster laps?
Because you're just afraid that the caution's going to come out like it did there in that first run in the first stage, where, we saw Landry, Jared Kelly, a few others try and split the stage, and it really bit them in the butt. So right now, you see these guys right here are trying to make it to the end. You know what? Right now, Jared Kelly coming down with 50 to go. I think it's possible to stretch it this far. Same with David Brenner. If you do a really good job saving the fuel, I think you can make it to the end from here. But those guys that pitted a couple laps sooner are either going to hope they can make it or hope for a caution, pretty much, in order to have any sort of hope.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you right there, Joe. I think these two guys, and there you go, there's Kyle Lynott. That's a face of consistency and fuel mileage strategy. So seeing these guys come down, I think this is the line. Here comes 37, Louisiana Teed driver Chris Smith. This is right here, the fellas that we think are going to begin the trend of I can make it to the end. Look at Landry now going to bring it down. That's an absolute marker if they can make it to the end. Here comes Joe Volpus. That's another fellow we've become accustomed to seeing. He knows how to count backwards as well, being an accountant in real life. Rick Mandela bringing her in, David Buell. So lots of these drivers that we're accustomed to seeing coming down. I think this is absolutely at lap 103, 47 to go. And when you get in the car, it says you can go about 48. Meanwhile, here's David Owens. Lead turns over to him. No points for leading a lap. But you know what? It just feels good, right? When you see your telemetry and it says you're in first, just feels good, right, Joe?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, that must be nice here. So you can see how hard he's really been saving. I don't know if this is really going to work out in his favor, but he won't have to save on the second run, so I guess that would be his what his strategy is here, is save it all in the first run and then run the second run as hard as humanly possible. Unfortunately, I think he's going to give up too much time to the guys behind him doing it this way. So I don't know if it's going to work out in his favor to win the race, but I think he can get a top 5 out of it.
Yeah, 31.5 was the David Owens last lap. Of course, these guys qualifying 29.3 last lap there by Duval. You can see almost 0.6 of a second off. So the guys are going to need to find that speed, especially getting shortcut by guys like Landry.
Yeah, so then, of course, you know, these guys up front, Duval was one of the first ones to pit. If you look here, he pitted on lap 92. It cycled him out to the effective lead when David Owens pits. But you can already see those tires are way different than Brandon Sheldon, who pitted a whole 6 laps later than him.
No love lost, of course, between those two drivers. They've had a couple of run-ins last season. So if I'm Duval, I might let that guy with the quicker tires shoot on by, follow in behind him and let him carry me as far as he can, hoping for that caution. There we go. David Owens now did lead 2 laps. No points for that. But he's going to bring her in, keeping an eye on what kind of service he's taking. I imagine all 4. Meanwhile, up front, Duval still needs the pit. Shelton looking so good, running that rail up top in that number 2 U.S. Air Force car.
Yeah, look at that. He's going to just clear Duval around the outside, take over the race lead here, coming to 44 laps to go. So this race is really starting to wind down here. And, you know, pitting on lap 98, 52 laps on the last set of tires and fuel. We'll see if he's able to go far enough. But right now I'm looking at guys a little further back to be able to make it if this race goes green. Jason Landry is in third. He pitted on lap 102. He only has to stretch at 48 laps on this last set of fuel and tires here. So he's looking like he's in a very good spot. David Medina, not really as much. He's in the same boat as Brandon Sheldon, pitting on 98. But then you go further on back. Vulpes, he pitted on 102 with the 56 of Jason Landry. You look behind him, Kyle Lynott, he pitted on lap 101. So he's pretty much in the same boat as well. But then you go further on back. Jose Medina was one of those short pitters, so he might be in a little bit of trouble. The next guy that I'm really looking at to be able to make it, Derek Kelly, lap 100. So these guys then back here, they might be in good shape, but they're too far back in order to really battle for the win. Right now, it looks like it's going to come down to Landry, Vulpes, and Lynott, unless Sheldon and Medina have something in their back pocket to save some fuel.
Of course, the biggest drivers that we're thinking going to have that difficulty, Jax Duval and Jose Medina. Those are the 2 guys in the top 10. We're thinking, no way, Jose, pun intended. Brandon Sheldon, though, looking strong up front, led 22 laps here so far. Very fast in practice. And now the FOCM driver looking for his first win here in season 14 of the Bonfire Premier Cup. Going to lead another lap as he does. Now, Landry still in the picture, but Landry's got a tailpipe full of David Medina and Joe Vulpes as well with those guys. So those 3 fellas, they're closing fast on Duval. And at some point, Duval's going to slam on the brakes and take her into the pit. That will make for an exciting race moment.
Yeah, Duval just being on those older tires, you can see how much he's fallen off the pace here. He's just fallen straight back into their clutches. Right now, I think these 3 are just riding it out right now, making sure they have enough fuel to go to the end. Because they're not really losing that much time. Actually, I think they're gaining a little bit if we look at it. Yeah, they're about 0.2 faster actually than Sheldon right now. And remember, they're trying to make sure they can make it to the end on fuel.
Well, and I'll tell you who is not loving life at all. It's got to be David Owens, finding himself back in 19th position right now. He did turn a really fast lap that last time, but finds himself the last car on the lead lap back in 19th place. Very unusual to see the number 8 running back here in this position. So that strategy that you and I talked about, trying to push that fuel out, comes back to haunt the number 8 here. Hopefully, for him, he's hoping that he can find some speed, maybe get a caution, tighten this thing up. But right now, David Owens finds himself back in 19th position. I mean, he's got good speed. You know, he ran at 29.8. That's 0.8 of a second faster than the 51 ahead of him. I imagine he's going to zip right on by the 51. Yeah, you can see Rose take it on high, let the faster car go by. Stephen Neal next in the sights of David Owens. But realistically speaking, Joe, unless something wild happens, it's going to be a bad day for what David Owens is accustomed to.
Yeah, it's just not really worked out in his favor. And, that's because look at these guys they're on the other end of the track, and they're going to be able to save enough fuel in order to make it to the end. So David Owens may have overplayed his hand just a little bit too much in order to make it to the end. May have saved too much on that first run and should have maybe evened it out a little bit better, because he's going to have a rough time getting back through this field.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for David Owens and for his teammate looking in front of him, David Brenner as well, probably on a similar strategy. Meanwhile, look at action picking up here. This is the battle for second place. Landry got Medina hugging the inside. Look at Volpus now peaking below the 84 of Duval. Florida man gonna throw a little dirty air the 11 Ford's way. Single file now. Landry battling Medina. Under him, here comes Jax Duval. Gonna take a peek side by side with David Medina. Medina uses that outside lane to roll on those better tires, gets clear. Duval loses 2 positions, going to fall in behind Joe Volpus there for 5th place. Again, Duval older tires, probably not enough fuel, but he's trying to fight as long as he can, maintain position, maybe a caution, comes out, splash and go. Perhaps he's got another set of tires in there, but for now he's checking the integrity of that outside wall, and yes, it's still there, and yes, it is hard.
Yeah, I want to make sure you don't get any sort of damage here. It's going to really, really compromise the end of your race. And that's the last thing you want to see. Oh!
Speaking of damage, right into the back of the 13 of Darby. Wow, that was live, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about the camera being in the right place at the right time. The rear end of Darby looked like an inviting target. And wow, Florida man, was he driving a boat? Was that a dock? What happened?
I think that was some really bad luck. I'm sure we're going to get
it was net code?
I think we're
was that net code? Is that what net code is?
We're going to get a really good replay of whatever just happened there.
We got it ready.
Wow. Darby down low, right?
Oh.
Oh, no, you can't go down there.
Oof.
Oh, yeah, looked like Darby tried to get out of the way of the leaders and then had a little bit too much momentum to stay down on the apron. Momentum carries him up. Oh, at least he gets to be marked safe from Farmer today.
Oh,
and that looked like Lynott into the wall.
Oh, my goodness, he did a good job missing everything. Well,
ouch.
You know what this is going to do, Mean Gene, is this really is going to mess up David Owens' strategy, because he's way back in 16th. So saving all that fuel is going to be a moot point for him. And the guys that were semi-saving, Landry and Volpus, are going to be 2nd and 4th. And then, of course, Brandon Sheldon running his own race. He's in 1st. And David Medina's recovered to 3rd. Let's see what they do on pit road, though, here.
Look, man, I'm thinking this is actually going to work out for Brenner and Owens, because now the field is tightened up. They're not 18 seconds behind the leader anymore. They still have the same amount of cars in front of them, so that doesn't change. But what it does is it guarantees now that they're less that the gap is that much smaller. And even if you catch Shelton right now, this guy just looks like he's on a mission. His mission got a lot tougher, though, because he's got Landry. Look at Landry, says, look how easy I passed you. Get ready. I'm going to do it again later. And here's Medina behind him. Wow, that's a tough sandwich to be in right there. Look at Brandon Shelton. He's got Landry and Medina circling him like sharks. Up ahead, you can see to you guys looking for a lucky dog or a wave around. That's Kevin Kyle in the 31. Jake Johnson.
Kevin Kyle is actually your leader here. Looks like.
Oh, even better.
It looks like he. If we see what he did here, it looks like he pitted, but he only took fuel only. That's because him and Vulpes, remember, they took tires at that halfway through that first stage, so they're down a set of tires. So Vulpes put on his last set. Kevin Kyle is going to save him here, so he's going to be on older tires when we go back racing.
Oh, Kevin Kyle, he's going to play fortune teller, thinks there might be some more activity. Up ahead of him, you can see that's Clausen looking for a wave around. Jake Johnson up there in that 32. So a couple of guys hoping, wishing, praying that there's going to be the opportunity to swing around. That's Paul Ferdiani. He's in that 33 Armor All Toyota. And then behind them, you can see when it rotates around, Kevin Kyle will be shown as your leader. 9 lead changes here today. Great race here at the FOCM 225, second race of our regular season. There go your wave around candidates. Away goes Ferdiani, away goes Zach Clausen, and there goes the 32 of Jake Johnson. Now your front row is going to be Kevin Kyle. Of course, Kyle is on those older tires. Jason Landry going to be lined up on the inside, and that's where you want to be with those fresh tires. Second row, David Medina, Brandon Shelton. Got a FOCM second row. Kyle Lynott going to start 5th. Tommy Fox 6th. Joe Vulpes 7. David Owens going to be starting on the outside there in 8th. Jose Medina going to line up in 9th. They're getting a little tight on me there. They wiggled on me. David Owens, Jared Kelly, that's going to be your top 10. Pace car out of the way. Ooh, those guys in the back better tighten it up. Waiting to see what Kevin Kyle does. Away we go. Great jump by Kevin Kyle in the outside lane. Kevin Kyle gonna bring David Medina with him. Landry on the inside, trying to battle, but loses the position to Medina. Now Landry gonna go down onto the apron, still picking below Medina. Side by side, Landry and Medina, that's for second place. Behind them, Kyle Lynott in 4th. Brandon Shelton not going anywhere, running 5th. Vulpes, Owens, Michael Serra up into 8th. Tommy Fox, Jose Medina, that's your top 10. But the story right now, Kevin Kyle, he said, I don't need tires. I can make it to the end. I'm gonna win this thing. Chase me down, boys. Heck, he's probably praying that Medina would block a little bit for him, being as their teammates, but Medina's got a side-by-side race with Jason Landry. This is lap number 122. Plenty of time left for this thing to unfold. Oh! And Medina's loose. Him and Landry together. Medina again with issues.
And that's not going to be a caution because it's off the racing surface. You can see the light's still green over there.
How many times? I've seen Medina in the grass or on the infield sideways more times today, Joe, than I think we did all last year. What a rough day for David Medina.
I think I've seen
I have that replay ready.
I think I've seen David Medina more sideways today than I've ever seen him in this league in general, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Meanwhile, look at Lynott peeking below. This thing is still wide open. Lynott on the better tires. Sees the window in front of him.
Oh!
He just goes right into Kevin Kyle. Into the grass. Kevin Kyle minding his own business. But his business was Lynott's business. And now he's sideways on the apron.
This is absolute chaos here. I can't believe all the stuff that's going down here. I think we got a replay. Johnny Replay's got what happened on the back stretch, and then we'll have to go back and see what happened on the front stretch, I think, as well.
Unbelievable.
That was a caution there with Kevin Kyle, by the way.
Wow. Wow. I just have not seen Medina treated this way ever. And then here we go, second replay. How's he look, Johnny? He looks good, right? It's above board.
So far, yeah.
That was a move. And... Ew.
No. That's my lane.
Man, that could have been way, way worse if Kevin Kyle didn't get that lockdown good. That could have been a 20-car pileup right there.
Yep, let that be a lesson to you young drivers at home. Lock it up. Don't save it. Don't come back up on the course. Don't be the reason the 17th best driver in the league has 9 DNFs. Lock it down. All right, this ought to be a fun show. Who's going to bring it in? Landry pretended. Oh, what a great move there by the veteran. He pretended. 26 laps to go. Who do you think's going to do it? All right, here we go. Tommy Fox is going to do it. Looks like Chris Smith's going to do it. Gambrel, Darby. There's a few drivers in there making it happen.
Yeah, I expect Kevin Kyle to come down here, take his last set of tires. David Medina looks like he's going to come down, fix some damage. I'm going to assume put on his last set of tires here as well, maybe. Let's see. Survey says. No, he's just going to fix the car.
That's also why I imagine Lanaud's down there. You know, Kevin Kyle had a little bit of damage, needed to get that checked out. Tommy Fox, looks like that's a tire stop. Good for him. Tommy's still with a set. David Medina, 9 seconds. That's either right sides or just a little bit of damage repair. Looking up the leaderboard, though, top 14, last pitted on 118. Looks like they all took tires except for Owens' 10-second pit stop. Maybe right sides for Owens, but that pays off to get him up into third place. Kevin Kyle's got her rolling again. Hopefully not too much damage on that number 31.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I think the damage is fine. I think he just needed to put in some new tires there. That's pretty much what I think that pit stop was.
Hey, biggest beneficiary right there. Look at the 32 of Jake Johnson. He's going to get back on the lead lap. Remember, Jake got 5th in that first stage. So that 32, he's got some speed in that car. Last pitted, though, on lap number 96. So he is got older tires out there. Going to have to keep an eye on and see what he can do starting back in the 19th position. Meanwhile, up front, Vulpes on the inside, Shelton on the outside, second row, David Owens, Kyle Lanaud, Landry and Jose Medina going to be in the third row. Jared Kelly got that double nickel back on the right track now in 7th. You can see Michael Cera right next to him in that 4th row. Duval, hey, he's got gas now. He's good to go. Also got him some fresh tires. So Duval back in this thing. Michael Cera, Ricky Mandela, that's going to be your top 10. And meanwhile, look at that. David Brenner still caught in the middle of the soup, unexpected, as well as David Buell. You can see Stephen Neal in there and David Medina behind those guys. So there's a lot of big names in the middle of this. As we said at the beginning, everybody just so fast. And we knew it was going to be quite the show, and that's what we've seen today. Hopefully, we're going to get a little bit more with so few laps, 24 laps to go here at Charlotte. Brandon Shelton, look at him slow rolling this thing, backing up the outside lane. Away we go. Great start by Brandon Shelton. Joe Vulpes caught with his pants down on the inside. That's going to let Lanaud go by. Now Medina side by side with Vulpes. Vulpes getting a little bit of push from Owens. Got Landry, the third car, on that inside lane. Brandon Shelton out to a 4 car length start. Lynott on the outside, going to be in second. Volpus looking down low, got help from Owens. A little bit of a push. Medina now on the top side by himself. Michael Serra moving up into sixth, trying to give a push as the field spreads out. So many cars on the new tires. Speeds back up at a premium. Going to see some 29 laps second this time. This is going to be one of the fastest laps of the race as these boys do battle. Medina touches the wall, opens the door. Look at Owens tapping it down low. Now Michael Serra's going to look below the 54. Landry trying to get by Jax Duvall in that mess. We could have a 3-wide situation.
Here we go. Going to make an aggressive move. Jason Landry makes it stick, gets a couple spots out of it for his troubles. Looks like he's now in the battle for sixth, though. He's not able to clear Duvall, and it looks like he's also getting a little bit tight underneath him.
Landry side by side with Duvall. Behind them, you can see the 55 of Kelly and Michael Serra. Mandela, Brenner behind them, Stephen Neal, David Buell, and then finally David Medina. He's racing with the likes of Jerry Rose and Kevin Kyle, who's damaged. Got to get that number 9 moving, my friend. Up front, again, it's still Shelton doing battle with Lynott. Lynott trying to make that outside lane work. Joe, I just don't think the outside lane is where you want to be on fresh tires. It seems like the apron is the way to go until that first breakdown.
Yeah, but, you know, the other thing that you got to consider is that dirty air effect. And you can see it right there. David Owens got in the wake of the 11 car and got into the outside wall. So I think that's what Kyle's trying to do here. He's trying to offset himself enough from Sheldon that he gets enough clean air and can get a run that way. Because, you know, if you just run the same line as the car in front of you, you're not going to go anywhere. Actually, you're going to go backwards with how bad the dirty air is here.
Well, I've seen a lot of people try to do a little bit of diamond action also, but that could get you a door full of the rear of the front bumper of the guy behind you. So trying to make a new line work for himself, but Brandon Shelton has to feel good. He's been in the front. He knows how the car handles with that clean air. He's got those fresh tires on it. He's got enough fuel. If this thing stays green, he's going to be a hard guy to pass. But if there was anybody that could do it, Kyle Lynott is the guy. Remember last week, Lynott led the most laps at Kentucky, came up short, rain-shortened race, ended his chances. Today, looking for redemption. Podium within the grasp of the 988. Behind him, Joe Volpus. We saw Volpus on the podium last week. He could do it here again today. What a great start to the season to the newly minted Animal House custom driver. David Owens in fourth. What a recovery from what we saw earlier. Owens running in the back, playing in fuel games. Now it's just wide open. Plenty of fuel, plenty of tires, and now in the top 5 firmly. There's Jose Medina running in fifth. Also found himself a lap down early, played the fuel game, failed. Now top 5 position. He's got tires, he's got fuel, but what he's also got is Jason Landry behind him. Landry, not used to seeing the Canadian running out of the top 5, but that's exactly what you see. Single file all the way back behind those drivers until around 15th, and then that's where the true battle begins, right in the middle of the soup. And it looks more like a chowder today.
Yep, and up front it looks like Volpus and Lynott are now battling for second, and they're letting Brandon Sheldon start to scoot away a little bit, I think.
Well, you know what? Lynott now can give Volpus a bump without getting screamed at by team captain David Owens, because Volpus ain't on that team anymore. So he's free to do with him as he pleases without any team ramifications. You know, the sponsors aren't going to come back and tell him, don't wreck your teammates. He can take Volpus out if he chooses to do so. And David Owens in fourth has a front row seat. Great racing. I'm just kidding. Kyle's not looking to wreck people. He's looking to win. You can't win if you wreck people. Lynott wanting that trophy here today, putting down great laps. Last lap, 30.01 by Brandon Shelton up front. Everybody else with those low 30s. But look at David Medina with that 29.9. So really great speed the previous lap. But really great speed from these middle guys trying to get it. And Medina he's knocking on the door. He's broken into the top 10. And now once he gets by these three fellas, I think it's an open path for him to try to chase down Landry and some of the others. It's just been amazing for us to watch, Joe, how different it has been here today for the fellas we've seen dominate this league. We're used to seeing a David Medina dominate. We're used to seeing Landry dominate. We're used to seeing Kelly dominate. Here today, they're caught up in the middle of the soup, part of this action, and that's just a credit to the work put in by these other drivers. They know that it takes laps. David Medina has shared his techniques. He's shown his process of preparation, and I think the results of what we're seeing is just more and more people taking that heart and running those laps, figuring out how to make their way best around here, make it competitive, and that's what we're seeing. Speaking of competitive, look at Mandela with Jared Kelly looking below the double nickel, forcing Kelly all the way up into the wall. Look at the momentum of Medina right behind Kelly. Jax Duvall's getting a great show in that rearview mirror, Joe.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, I think these guys also have a little bit of an advantage since it is a new version of Charlotte, 2025 version now. I think everybody being on a little bit more of an equal playing field, figuring out how to save the tires right and all that kind of stuff as well, makes things a lot more interesting.
Look at Medina.
Uh-oh.
On the outside. Oh, and Kelly and Kyle.
That's a caution.
10 laps to go. Look at him lock it down. Good job. No, right there. Yeah, he knew what to do. Stop it on the apron and go real slow.
Oh, no. What are these guys going to do? Some guys have tires left. Vulpes and Kevin Kyle don't. So we know what they're doing. But what is everybody else going to do here, Mean Gene?
Oh, I tell you what. If I had tires, I'd take them, but I didn't, so I didn't. Let's see. The pace car out there. Re-rack them, Joe. This is going to be a great finish. 9 laps to go. Going to see who's going to do it. Ooh, here's a present from Johnny Replay.
Looks like the 55 may have gotten a little loose, and then, I don't know if maybe a bad push there from the 31.
Let's do the camera angle that never lies. Can we do a chase on that?
The truth teller.
Okay.
Maybe he thought there was going to be a hole. I don't know if he thought there was going to be a hole there or if he just pushed him wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, there just wasn't as much space. You know, it looked like Kelly was going down. And you know how excited we get when it would appear that they're going down, and then you find out that they're not.
Yeah, it's just really awkward down the backstretch.
Yep. So Kevin Kyle trying to find some speed. We just saw David Medina make that outside lane work when Medina passed Jared Kelly on the outside. So it looks like Kevin Kyle was also trying to look to the outside there. But Kelly not leaving that opening, cars make contact. Kelly ends up backwards. Tough day continues for the 55. And also Kevin Kyle, that's a couple of times that he's been part of an incident. So both those guys going to re-rack, take it to the pits, see if some damage needs to be repaired. Meanwhile, who did take it to the pits? Looky, Kyle Lynott, first car that did come down. Looks like he might have taken right sides to be in the front of that pack. I don't want to say those numbers in that sequence, but with that 9.6 second pit stop, he is going to be the first car that pitted on lap number 142. Landry came down, 10-second pit stop. Duvall. So I think those three guys probably took right side tires. After that, David Owens looks like he took 4. Brenner took 2. Jake Johnson continuing to creep up the leaderboard, finds himself into 13th. Remember, he was a lap down just, one caution ago back in 21st position. Now finds himself back up into 13th. Great recovery by the 32 as he finds himself on the lead strategy. Up front, though, Shelton, Volpus, Medina last pitted on lap 118. Then you got Kyle and Fox, who pitted on 125. Rose and Sarah, 6th and 7th, pitted on 118. And then 8th place, Kyle Lynott. He's the guy that just took 2 right sides. So going to keep an eye on what Lynott can do. He's going to have some slower cars in front of him. I think patience is going to be the name of the game for Kyle Lynott as he's going to try to make his way through there and then have that tire advantage over the other drivers. Just 7 laps here to go in the FOCM 225. We've had some great action today. Story, though, it's not the names you expected, is it, Joe?
No, it's really not, and you can see all the lead changes that we had today here as well. 10 lead changes to this point, and it's been Brandon Shelton, actually, that's led the most laps here so far today. So you can see that as we're getting ready to come green. 52 laps led out of the 143 that we've completed. So great showing from him, and we'll see if he's able to finish this one off.
A 19 car still on the lead lap. So this thing could still get wide open, keeping an eye on the faster cars with the newer tires. Brandon Shelton is going to lead him into the restart zone. He is away. Shelton, great start on that outside lane. Looks like a little contact between the 5th. Oh, Lynott's going to take a 3 wide contact in the middle. Oh, and Fox and Rose up into it. Oh, Rose back into Lynott. Looks like the 808 of Newman. 33 of Ferdiani and Tommy Fox spinning his wheels. Day might be done. Lynott, Rose, here comes the pace car. And I'll tell you what, Kyle Lynott and Jerry Rose, they just keep finding each other like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, I think they might be having a trip to Arby's after this race together with that right there. That was insane. What a restart there. And,
Yeah, it looked like It looked like it started. I think Rose was trying to cheat that start and make a little bit of a space in front of him. Lynott not going to have any of it. And then things just escalated from there. Johnny, you got that one. That was a Ric Flair moment.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah, Lynott not having that bull. Go back further. Go way downtown bang. Yeah, look at that gap. So you can see Lynott's already into the rear end of Rose right there. And then goes 3 wide. And look at Tommy. Tommy and Rose came together. Lynott nowhere to go. He said, I'm here. And then Duval says, no, you're not. You're in the wall.
Yeah, if you roll that one back, I think what happened there, oh my goodness, is you see. So it looked like Kyle was trying to go for a hold that I don't know if it really... Go back a little further. I think
that's the Joey Logano hole.
I don't really think this hole existed because if you roll it forward here, the 57 is expecting to be side by side with the 51, and he just sticks his nose in between them and turns them into each other and creates a big wreck. And,
look at Rose and Fox. They're just talking through the window. Hey, that sucked, didn't it? Yeah, it did.
Your whole thing about patience there was not heeded.
Hey, patience is a virtue, and not all of us are virtuous, especially not when there's 4 to go, Joe.
I just think if he set that up a little bit better, he might have been able to make a move and have a chance to win it. But you know what this does here, Mean Gene, is now because of what happened here. Those guys that we were talking about, where they haven't pitted in forever, they're now in a great position to win it because it's going to be a green-white checkered here to the finish of the race. So now, Brandon Shelton, Kevin Kyle, Joe Volpus, those guys, of course, as well as Jose Medina, since they haven't pitted recently, they really needed another caution to hold on to their track position over the fresh tires, and they got it.
All those cars still in the pit trying to get a little bit of repair done. They were sideways, not good for them. Up front, Brandon Shelton continuing. There we go. Lynott's going to beat off the pit car and get out before it passes him by. Who else? Ooh, that's going to be close right there. Did Rose make it out?
Survey says.
Look, I don't know. He's behind the pit car. And that Arby's is flapping. There he goes. Okay, he did make it. Tommy Fox, not so fortunate. Looks like he's still in there getting a little bit of repair. And Chris Smith will be shown a lap down. So Rose going to stay on the lead lap. 18 cars going to be on the lead lap as the 51 speeds around to try to catch up to the lead group. Lead group, though, Brandon Shelton, Kevin Kyle. You got the FOCM boys up in that front row. Medina third, Vulpes fourth, or vice versa, I should say, as Vulpes is on the inside. Jax Duvall starting fifth. Michael Serra, great run by the 27 today. Having a great day, Michael Serra. You know, he was one of the fellas that we were looking at for the amateur championship last year. Just missed a few races, couldn't get in quite enough points to stick with Mandela and Medina. But here today, he's all that and more, finds himself up in sixth place. Pace car out of the way. Look at him accordion up. Boy, it got tight real fast in here. A little bit of contact between everybody. Great race control by Shelton. And away we go. Brandon Shelton on the outside gets a great jump. Gonna bring Medina. Oh, and look at Michael Serra just gets pushed out of the way by David Owens. Hits the wall. And now he's got Jake Johnson in the back. Jake Johnson lets Serra back into the face. Classy move there by the 32. Up front, Brandon Shelton with the lead. Medina and Kyle, bang! And it's the momentum of Medina, pushes him into second. Now it's Joe Vulpes looking on the outside of Kevin Kyle. Kyle trying to make the apron work. Finally does, gets the move, and now it's a crossover by the 11 of Vulpes. Vulpes looking to the apron. Kyle side by side, still stuck on the outside, coming out of the start-finish into turn number one. Look at the momentum of Duvall underneath. Duvall goes by. Kevin Kyle not having a good one at all. Banging with Duvall. Look behind them. Owens and Landry continuing to find in there. Final lap. Brandon Shelton battling with Jose Medina, the pony up driver, battling with FOCM. Shelton's led most of this lap. Now he's got Oh, and look at that. The big speed finally pays off. Brandon Shelton victorious. What a race. What a race.
Wow, that was a really crazy finish. I think there was some other craziness that happened there at the end of the race.
What you got, Johnny?
Got the number 8 of Owens. And then the 56 of Landry, right at the last turn.
Oh, got him. Oh, he's driving backwards. Look at the skill.
You know what, Mean Gene? I don't think those two are going to be sharing a lunch or a beer after this race.
Emotional, damn it!
Yeah, I don't think those two are going to be sharing a beer with each other after this one.
That was tight race. I mean, these guys are used to winning. Well, guess what? Only one guy can win today, and it's the law, Brandon Shelton. You know, I fought the law, and the law won. Brandon Shelton, big first here today. How about Jose Medina coming through second, matching his best finish of last year? Medina for pony up with that second place. Joe Vulpes, podium last week, podium this week. Jax Duvall gonna bring it home in fourth. Kevin Kyle, he was a punching bag out there for a little bit, but finally brings her home in fifth. Landry got the better of his contact with Owens, gonna finish sixth. David Medina, I'll tell you, we're used to seeing him up further. At least he won the Battle of the Davids. David Medina 7, David Brenner 8, David Beal 9, and last year's Rookie of the Year, Ricky Mandela, brings it home in 10th.
After all the chaos there at the end of the race, Jared Kelly able to get 11th out of this. 12th will go to Stephen Neal, the new driver for Animal House Customs. 13th place will go to Jake Johnson. Great recovery from him. Michael Sara, we saw him on that last restart have some serious trouble. He ends up 14th. Right behind him in 15th is going to be David Owens after we saw him spin out there on the last lap with Jason Landry. Tough break for him. 16th will go to Paul Ferdiani. 17th will go to Jerry Rose. Kyle Lynott will end up in 18th. Those guys, of course, with that chaotic wreck just a little bit earlier there, if you remember, just a little bit earlier in the race there, that last restart prior to the final one where they wrecked with each other. Chris Smith, not a good showing for him, unfortunately. Very disappointing after he was running top 10 for most of that race, 19, 3 laps down. Tommy Fox, we saw him involved in that big wreck that I just alluded to, 20th, 4 laps down. Wayne Newman caught up in it as well, 21st, 5 laps down. Zach Clausen was caught up in some early wrecks as well. He finishes 22nd, 13 laps down. Eric Gambrill, we saw him. He had some bad luck as well, caught up in that late race wreck. He finishes 23rd. 24th to go to Tim Darby. We saw his car get destroyed when he misjudged going on the apron. And then, of course, the contact with Duval took him out of the race. Todd Dunn, not a good run for him either. He'll look to get things sorted out for next week. He gets 25th. And then Jake O'Shea, Dukes of Hazzards his way out of the race into last place, 26th here today.
Live replay of Jake Shea taking that thing right over that bump. I'll tell you what, Joe, we got a little somebody. He's still hollering, I think, down there. Gonna try to pull this man up in here. Jose Medina, you got 3 wide up in the booth. Can you hear me, my friend?
Hell yeah! Let's do this.
Oh, there he is. He got him a second place. Jose, little bit of fear early on, though. You stayed out to lead those laps. We find out later that there's no points for leading laps anymore. Kind of put you behind the 8 ball, didn't it?
Oh, most definitely. Don't remind me. Please don't remind me. Yeah, that was a big mistake on my part. You know, they took away those points for leading the lap, and that's the only reason I stayed out. And thank God, it still worked out for me, so I was lucky.
Oh, I don't know. The more you drive, the luckier you get, Jose. Looking faster than you did last year. Good stuff out there. I tell you, though, on that restart, you were awful close to Brandon. Did you think you had a little something for the law?
I was hoping, man. I thought I had a chance, but no. Brandon he rode that high line, and he rode it perfectly, and I just couldn't get him. And I thought I had a chance, but I need more experience and more leadership to guide me the right direction. I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet.
I'll tell you, you're looking for leadership, but you have definitely led your team in points and finishes this year. Maybe there's a book you could buy out there, Leadership for Dummies. I think it's a yellow one over in the self-help section, because you're going to need to pick up the rest of the team. Clausen and Gambrill, both with damage, Rose back in 17th. But you know what? Let's not worry about teams today. Let's just look at that second place. We got it on the screen. So close, but as you said, Shelton leading so many laps, figured out how to make that Chevrolet work, spreading the dirty air. But Jose, you made it about as close as you can without taking the win. Want to congratulate you. Anybody out there you want to give a big shout out to?
Hey, thank you, Mean Gene. I appreciate everything you all in the broadcast. I enjoy watching the broadcast right after the race, and I can't wait to go watch it. Smoking Joe, awesome, great job. You guys do a great job. Also, Johnny Replay, you do a great job on the replays, and I appreciate everything you do for us. And of course, all the admins that are behind the scenes. I appreciate everything you do, and all the lead admins. Also, the league owner, John Beverly. I appreciate everything you do also, and you listen to
David Buell.
Oh, David Buell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're Bonfire today.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emerald.
I gotta put the other hat on. Let me put the other hat on.
Sorry.
There. Okay.
Also, I want to give a shout out to, of course, my painter of my car, Paul Ferdiani. From oh man, I'm EV Paints.
There it is.
EV Paints, and give a shout out to my sponsor tonight was VMS. VMS, that's a tequila cocktail drink, Paloma flavor. You need to try it. It's really delicious. And oh man, oh man, I'm gonna taste it right now as soon as I get out of here. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, and my teammates, of course, can't leave out my teammates. They did their best. It's just they had no luck today. And but keep your heads up. Eric. Gary. And Farmer Zach. I mean Zach, right? Oh my
Yep,
God!
Farmer Works. We know who that is.
Yeah,
we know who that is.
I'm just gonna be off today. And of course, one more sponsor, my family. I appreciate everything you guys do for us, and watching and supporting me, and letting me do what I want. I love doing as a hobby. And I really appreciate it. And of course, all the fans out there watching, I hope you enjoyed the race, and we put a good show for you. And Brandon, congratulations, and Volpes, great job on third place.
Look at that. Never a dull moment with Jose Medina. Jose, thank you so much. Go get you one of them drinks, my friend. You earned it.
Thank you, Mean Gene. You have a good day.
You too. I'll tell you what, that man, always excited, always a pleasure to have him join us here on the air. Jose Medina, second place today. So close. Always a bridesmaid, never the bride. But speaking of brides, Joe, I think we got another guy. You want to see how this guy's feeling?
Yeah, let's get him on up in here.
I think we got him. Go for it.
Brandon Sheldon, you got a copy?
I got a copy. How about you?
Oh yeah, we got you loud and clear. Great job on getting the win there. I know the race kind of played out a little bit differently than you thought it would there towards the end with a couple cautions. You led the most laps today. What do you got to say about your race today?
Yeah. Thank you. First off, I just want to say thank you to you guys for doing this for us week in and week out. We really do appreciate it because it's so great to come back and be able to watch and see how you guys call the race and looking outside, because I know for a fact I didn't touch that guy. That guy, he wrecked me, and then you guys come back and call it and you go, well, actually, let's see what happens. So first and foremost, thank you guys. But today was a wild day. I was telling my team, I was like, man, I haven't seen the two car up front in a while, so it was very special just to be running up front and running in the likes of the guys that are usually up front, top tier of the league, always up there. So really special just to run up there, and then let alone to get the win. To be honest, the crew chief might get fired. His race strategy wasn't the greatest when it came to fuel. A lot of guys were saving, and that's when he told me, hey, just go as hard as you can, and hopefully luck falls, and luck fell today.
So I know you said that you were concerned about the fuel there at the end of the race. So if that caution with 30 to go didn't come out, were you in trouble to make it to the end?
Yeah, we were probably, we were good a couple laps short there. We would have had the pit. So really, if that caution doesn't come out, that puts the brakes on the two car being in victory lane. But it came out, and then that jumbled up everything. And honestly, I think, now, hey, I got the win, great, good to go. But if that second caution at the end doesn't come out, I think the guys that were able to pit and get new tires on would have gave me trouble up front.
Yeah. So what a great job. What was your favorite part of the race? Was it towards the end battling with your teammate Kevin Kyle and then Jose Medina at the end? Or was it that middle part where you and Jason Landry were having that drop dead battle for the lead there for about 20 laps?
Yeah, so on Landry, I was like, what can I learn from here? And I had figured he was going to start fuel saving. And I said, look, I'll give myself about 5 more laps. If I can't get by him, I'm going to enter fuel mode. I'm going to save as much as I can. And hopefully it'll play out that way. But luckily, I think his might have been in 4 laps because he kind of gave way to me running, and then he started saving. And then once I got into the lead, I told myself, like, hey, the only way I'm going to come out of this thing is if we mess up something on pit road, but I'm going to go as hard as I can for as long as I can and stay up front. So that was really fun. But I will say, Jose at the end and Kevin at the end, it gave me quite a scare because you guys know how it is. When you're leading up front, you're white knuckling it the whole way through.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to set you up here for some shout outs here. How does it feel winning the FOCM sponsored race here on Team FOCM?
Yeah, that's it's funny because it was a team effort, to be completely honest. I came in a little late to practice, and the first thing, Kyle, thank God for him, he goes, hey man, this is what we're looking at, this is what we're doing. And then obviously David Medina, he he's like in my ear the whole race going, hey man, this is what you should do, this is where you're at. We constantly give each other help and feedback during the race. And unfortunately, Jake today, he had something, I think he was trying to miss a wreck or something that happened early on. And he goes, unfortunately, guys, too much damage, I'm done. So I hate that for him. But also, I know we don't mention him a lot because he's got some work stuff going on. But Chris Morrill, what a great support. And I can't wait till he comes back to race with us again. But yeah, the whole team FOCM, second to none. Those guys are great and so special to be able to win this 114 FOCM.
And then anybody else that you want to shout out before we head out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I know it was no in particular, like specific, but I know this league has gone through its changes, and obviously we're still mourning the loss of Dennis, and it's still hard to go forward. But I think there's some guys that took this admin role, some guys that took the role of the entire league and took it to the bull by the horns, and they're doing a great job. And enough can't be said because at the end of the day, we don't pay for this league. You guys are the admins, the people that run the league. They keep it free for us. And we really do get some really, really good racing, whether 20 laps racing in the middle of the race, first place, or if it comes down to the wire and you're for a win. They're racing throughout the entire field, and it's just a lot of fun. And obviously, last but not least, even though you guys were first, I want to thank you guys too again for doing this because it's so wonderful.
Well, we appreciate that. Mean Gene, you got anything to add on here?
Man, just impressive to watch. All the names we're used to seeing up front. We've seen you knock on that door so many times. Today, your day. Do you feel like that car, it was just the winning car today, and that opportunity to run up in the front, you just knew how to make it work. You used that middle better than anybody. Did you know you were going to use that line? Is that where the car wanted to go? What were you thinking there battling with Jose?
Yeah, no, honestly, I was very comfortable running the low line. That's where I liked, and all the fast guys can do it 1,000 times better than me. It was luck today. And then in practice, like I said earlier, I was like, hey, does the high line work here? And if it does, how is it on long run? And we talked about that. And so during the race, you watch other guys and you see what they can do, and then maybe every a lap or two you try something different just to see for later on in the race. And I tried that middle line. I said, hey, I kind of like this. I'll keep that in the pocket just in case. And that's what I was using for the last handful of laps there.
Well, it was brilliant to watch, rolling it the way you did, keeping that thing on the throttle. Jose tried to go low, didn't have that momentum, and number 2 in victory lane. And let me be the first to congratulate you. You, my friend, punched your golden ticket to the playoffs.
Yes, sir. And I wish you guys had all of Team FOCM's chat at the end because I don't think anyone had eardrums left. I was pumped, and we're definitely celebrating this one as Team FOCM today.
Was great watching. Man, thank you so much for the show today. Can't wait to see what you and all the team do next week. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Brandon Shelton laying down the law on the rest of the field. Your victor here today at the FOCM 225. Man, have a great afternoon, Brandon. You earned it.
Thanks, guys. You take care. We'll see you next week.
Man, that was just awesome to watch, Joe. I loved the effort by the entire field. We saw fast runs by almost every driver out there. A little bit of hijinks, a little bit of shenanigans, but in the end, I think the fastest car ended up winning that race.
Yeah, Brandon Sheldon did a great job there over the course of the race in order to make his car run the best on the long run. We saw the way he battled with Landry, was able to get around him, able to hold on to that lead, and then got the luck of the Irish, I guess you could say there. We got a late race caution, able to put on that last set of tires, and then hold off everybody to the finish. What a great race for him
There's
today.
there's no luck, Joe. Stay away from my pot of gold. Don't chase me down to the rainbow. All right, so let's look at that points. I know it's a little too early to talk about it, but you know what? I love talking, so we're going to look at it. Joe Volpe is going to stay up top after his 2 top 5s. Kevin Kyle as well, 2 top 5s in the first 2 races. Going to be second. David Medina, close enough to stay up at the top. David Owens. How about Jax Duvall? Part-time last year, made both races so far this year. There he is firmly in 5th place. Ricky Mandela up front early. Last year, it took him half the season to really get it rolling, wasting no time. Right now, finds himself tied for 5th. David Brenner, Brandon Shelton moves up 13 spots. Most importantly, though, Brandon Shelton punches his ticket to the playoffs along with teammate David Medina. So it's a FOCM final right now, if you know what I mean. Jose Medina, another guy that it took half the season last year to get that momentum rolling, now in 9th for Jose Medina. There's Kyle Lynott, not too far off the pace. That is going to be a guy hungry hunting next week after 2 almost coulda wouldas the first 2 races. Stephen Neal, new Animal House custom driver, and Jake Johnson with his wonderful recovery and 5th place in stage points. Meanwhile, outside looking in, Jared Kelly, not used to seeing the double nickel there. I'm sure he's going to go back to the drawing board and come back strong next week. Jake Ashea, him of the Dukes of Hazzard run. David Buell, Tommy Fox. So lots of names we're not used to seeing on the outside looking in. And, of course, Jason Landry, only 1 start, currently back in 18th, but I expect he's going to creep on up. Other guy that dropped, Matt Schofield, unable to make today's race. Hopefully, Matt will come back. It takes 9 races in our 12-race regular season to qualify for the playoffs. So we'll just kind of keep a ticker as far as who can make it into the end. I think we'll see these guys come back strong, especially talking about a Schofield or especially a Jason Landry.
Yeah, it's just way too early in the season to really get into detail about what's going on here.
But it's fun.
I've been in situations in the past where I'll be outside the top 20 in the points 4 or 5 races into the regular season, and you end up making the playoffs, 7th, 8th place by the end of the regular season. So I wouldn't really start pushing the panic button, and if I'm not in the top 12 until we're probably around race 5 or 6, which if we take a quick gander at the schedule, that would be right around Chicagoland or Indianapolis. That's when I'd start to worry if I'm not up there. Next week, we got Kansas on the schedule, another 1.5 miles, another stage 50, 150 total. So I think we're going to see a lot more of what we saw today as well. And also, just to show the team points real quick, this doesn't show the most recent update where Stephen Neal is on Animal House Customs. So these points are subject to change, of course. FOCM took over the points lead there, as they're 2 for 2 now in the races, Gene.
Yes, sir. And those, of course, were the 2 teams doing battle last year, FOCM and Gulf Coast Racing. Gulf Coast taking the team title at the end of the year over FOCM. Ignition Point finished 3rd, which is really impressive considering they only have the 3 drivers. But now with Animal House Customs, a little bit of a revamp on their squad. David Buell going to be racing full time. You bring in the mercenary Joe Volpe And then now with the addition of Stephen Neal, that is going to be a team battling, I think, with Ignition Point. And who knows, few finishes go the right way for Vulpes, Mandela Buell, you get Stephen Neal out on those road courses, they might creep up and surprise a couple of people. Behind them, Ignition Point, if those guys had a fourth driver, there's not a lot of faster 1-2 combinations than Landry Kelly, so they just need a little bit more consistency in attendance. Pony Up Motorsports, I think those guys are going to win incident points. They're a little bit behind right now, but give them time. I think that team is going to come together. And then 7 Motorsports and Euro Speed Racing, again, not enough attendance on those teams to really make a dent. But always fun to look at this. Just a little extra thing for us to talk about. Laps led really, or laps ran really indicative, though, I think, of the larger teams. Right now, incident points. Look at that. FOCM winning in incident points. But I think a lot of that was some victimization, as we saw Kevin Kyle get smacked around. But we'll keep an eye on that. It's going to be fun. The one I want to watch, though, is going to be Animal House with that revamped roster. So we'll just kind of keep track. Maybe if Ignition Point could get one more driver to show up with some regularity, that also would help, considering how fast Landry and Kelly are out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up from Charlotte. Of course, this is part of a big week every week here on the Vortex Racing Network. Tomorrow night, we're going to have live Monday Night Mayhem Cup Series racing. That's going to start at 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central Time. It'll be me along with Zach Panzarella bringing you all the action as the boys continue to do battle on the Premier on their Cup racing. Tuesday night, we're going to do a rebroadcast right after the race. That'll be Big Trucking Tuesday. Wednesday, DDI Truck Series, and Thursdays, we had a live broadcast. Thank you, Kevin Kyle, last Thursday. So we'll keep you informed as far as how that is going to go moving forward. So plenty of racing action here on the Vortex Racing Network. If you haven't done so, if you found us on accident algorithm, go ahead and hit like. Go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, hey, buy your dog a laptop and go ahead and subscribe your little puppy too, and get your action in of all of the best iRacing right here on the Vortex Racing Network. That's going to wrap us up for the FOCM 225 at Charlotte for the Bonfire Premier Cup Bonfire Race League. I'm Mean Gene Money, 3 wide in the booth with Smokin' Joe and Johnny Replay bringing us all the good stuff. Also want to thank our sponsors, of course, FOCM, for sponsoring the race. KK Woodscapes, all your trophy needs. If you need a trophy, anything to immortalize and memorialize your accomplishments, reach out to KK Woodscapes. And Sim Racer Nation, one of the best networks out there, awarding our poll all this season long. Thank our admins, David Buell, David Owens, Chris Smorrell, David Medina, and all Stephen Neal, Matt Schofield, all the fellas that make it possible for this racing to happen. If you like what you saw, reach out to those guys. Maybe you could be out on the track with us next time. Next week, it'll be Kansas. Can't wait to see the action there. Have a great Sunday afternoon. Enjoy the race at New Hampshire. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, bottoms up and hammer down.